Ukhozi umaphiko ogula amaphiko kwaye kwaphephezela omiyane inyoni enobuciko nomnyunyiyo egcwele emizibini nemafini icula ingoma emnandi yayahlukanisa unyaka omusha omdala inyoni enezigidigidi zabalandeli abayilandelayo zamemeza sezidololozela zathi siyayazi le nyoni yayiculela okhokho bethu abanye abathule isibongo sokhozi FM sisibhalelwe isidadada sothu Ukhozi FM luhamba phambili.
Sawubona siyakumukela Ukhozi FM TV igama lami noSiya Mhlongo.
Sanibonani igama lami noNeliswa Cele.
Siyazi ukuthi ezomnotho emhlabeni wonke jikelele akukho lula. Isona sikhathi esinzima kakhulu lesi, isona sikhathi ekuyasikhuthaza ukuthi imali asiyonge, imali asitshale. Ezinye zalezo ndlela esitshelwayo ukuthi itshaleka kangcono imali property investment.
And uthukhula bebekutshela abazali nabanye abadala ukuthi kuyasiza ukuthi usheshe ungene kwi-property ukuze uzokhula ngendlela okuyiyona yona uyithole nawe usujabule mhlambe emzini wakho ngelinye ilanga mhlambe kwawena usuwumuntu onama-property ahlukahlukene uyaqashisa ngabe wenza izinto ezahlukahlukene kuyona.
Sambeli sethu ke sanamhlanje silana khona soyikhuluma ke yona le ndaba ye-property ukuba nendawo yokuhlala ozoyithenga uqashise kungena abantu kuyona uphinde uyidayise uma uyidayisa kodwa ugcine usina lento ebizwa ngani ne-property portfolio. Introduce guest yethu namhlanje.
Namhlanje nginobhuti wami Simphiwe Buthelezi we-Sims Accommodations Solutions. Bhuti wami ngikubingelele ngikwamukele.
Sokwalisa.
Ngibongele kakhulu ngoku-invite kulolu hlelo.
I-property ngokwazi kwami wayeqala usemncane wangena kanjani?
I was actually helping students to find accommodation. If you remember, kudala bekunale issue yama-lines ema-varsity. Uthola ukuthi a student only got an offer to study, but akaze ayithole offer ye-resident. So now they spend so much time on the lines and they are left with little time to go and look for accommodations. So now, since I've stayed in the area, is only private accommodation. So I know all of them. So I took pictures and I opened an office. I would call it an office because it was my place of work and on campus outdoor. And the student will come there and they will see the pictures and they will actually get information about the distance, the prices, and I will take them. I was actually using an Uber, so I would book out an Uber for the whole day to take students for viewings. So you come and you look at the pictures and then I take you, you look at 10 pictures or more, and then you view 3. So in that way, it became very helpful for students up until where demand it forces me to expand to other campuses, other provinces, and then I left the university because it's seasonal. So masiza ama-student afuna indawo zokuhlala only in January and first semester mayivulwa and little on the second semester. So the parents that were, cause about students afika nabazali and everything. So my parents are interested in actually doing the business of hosting students. So that's how that's how I was forced to actually register a company, because now I was doing business, an actual business where I will find a house for the parent and I will furnish the house in a way that it's in alignment with the student amenities, the amenities that are required by the university, Wi-Fi, and the beds, the quality of bed, the distance actually, because not all the accommodation qualifies to be under the database of the university. Educate them about student financing and how students are financed, how they're going to pay, and the prices, the market prices. If the property is in this condition, this is how much you should charge. So I was an expert because now I was exposed to a lot of accommodation. And it became that business in that way. And then I got to learn about people who wants to now buy old properties, buy repossessed properties with the purpose of renovating them to and sell them, making a profit.
Sizofika lapho
Yes.
sizofika lapho ezigabeni ezahlukahlukene zayo mhlawumbe zokuyilungisa
Zokuyilungisa.
kodwa ngifuna ukuthi nje sithi uqala kanjani asithi umuntu usanda kusebenza
Yes.
awunayo imali etheni
Yes.
kodwa nawo umcabango ukuthi ngiyafuna ukungena kulento ye-property
Yes.
singaqalana athini futhi ama-options akhona ongawathola
Options are gone. So firstly, when you talk about options, when in property, ihlukene in different types. So you have your residential properties, you have your industrial, you have your commercial, you have land. So you decide ukuthi ikuphi la uzobona ngathi ungaphila khona. Mostly, some people are inspired by other people, taking inspiration from commercial.
yeah
But more for someone, for an ordinary person, I would say a beginner, I think it's most popular that they start in actually in residential property.
yeah
Depending.
ey'ndlini zabantu ey'hlala abantu
Yes, depending on the opportunity that is available to you, because you must remember, you will always want to start investing in property that is within your reach. So as a start, you cannot, if the opportunity available in your area is commercial, then you
within your reach ukhuluma ngamasenti ey'malini
no, I'm talking about property. I cannot go and buy a property in Johannesburg when I incur a problem with the tenant. I cannot be available on time. So it's better for me to take care of my property that is actually within my reach. I can go anytime. I can go anytime and monitor or fix that problem, because at the beginning of everything, you have to be hands-on. You
Uba
cannot,
involved kakhulu.
yes, you cannot be starting a property. You cannot start getting into property and you go to agents. And you say they must manage your property at the beginning. You have to be hands-on. Finally,
What is the what is the risk that's involved with having an agent ikubambela from the start as opposed to ukuzibambela wena?
Actually, there's no risk, but there's cost. It's an expense. So there's no risk. You are actually reducing. You are actually saving time. Actually, if you are a person who actually is busy with so many things, and now you've expanded your portfolio, so now you need someone who's going to manage, who's actually experienced. So when you talk about agents, you're talking about someone who's experienced, who's going to take care of everything. So there's no risk involved when you ask an agent to. It's just that you are increasing the expenses in your cash flow statement.
Ngihambeke ngiye ebhenki i-option yokuqala ngempela leyo ukuthi ngiye ebhenki ngiyofuna ukuthi mhlawumbe bangiphi loan khona ngizothola ibond akhona yena amanye ama-option.
When we're talking about ukuya bank, that's not the first step. So the first step, if ufuna ukuthenga, I believe you are talking about when you want to buy on credit. So you first need to start with checking your credit score, or rather there's something called bond originators. So these are companies that applies for you to the banks. So they take your application and they populate to at least maybe 12 banks. And from there, all the banks will come up with offers. So now it's time to compare the interest rates. So that's very important, because 1% interest rate more can cost you 200,000 over 20 years. So
Sure.
they play a big role. So those companies, they actually can do something we call an affordability assessment. So that's the first step where you have to see how much I can qualify for, what is my budget. So you submit it depends on whether you are employed or you are self-employed, but there's also requirements when you want to buy a property. When you're working, you are employed, you need to be working at least 2 years in a company, and you must submit 3 months pay slip, and those document 3 months pay slip, and you must complete the form. You must also submit the bank statement, and then they are able to see how much can you qualify for. And it's different from someone who's a business person, who will actually need to provide financial statements for at least, and also the 2-year, the company must have run for at least 2 years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, so now, and they submit financial statement and also the identity to the, and they find out how much they qualify for. Once you know, and then you can now have an idea of how much I can shop for.
Shuthi even asike sithi mina angeke ngilinganise ngomholo of, let's say, 5,000 nje umholo wa every day. Is this something I can work with? Ngoba to build your credit score, it cannot really be easy for thina sonke. Yabona ukuthi ngikhokhe izinto lapha nalapha, and some of us like to avoid debts altogether. So if I'm working with just a normal salary, I'm rich or I'm a business person and I've got a good credit score, do I qualify or do I have the chance? Is there a minimum figure that you have in mind on average that they are willing to work with?
Yes, any amount you can buy a property, but credit score is a requirement, because remember, you are applying for credit. So it will always be a requirement. But when you talk about the salary, any amount, they will give you what you qualify for. So now the challenge will be acting is there an availability for that property? Yeah, we find, like in other year, I had a client who actually in the age of like 64. So affordability, it was actually pointing at 60,000 something. And there was someone in Johannesburg who was selling some, so it's not a container, but but it actually has a title deed. So the bank would, that's a commercial property. So it's not
Residential.
Residential where uzoqashisa umuntu ozosebenza. He bought we bought the property on her behalf, and then waqashisa till the year run.
Wow. That's
Sasho
amazing.
kanye. Sikhuluma noSimphiwe wakwaButhelezi uqweqwe kulezi zokutshalwa kwemali ngokuthenga umhlaba noma ngokuba nezindlu ezizoqashisa ngeindlela ezahlukahlukene nje bechazile, khona residential khona commercial. Masibuya ke mhlambe ke sibhekise emphakathini yakithi, emalokishini naseyindaweni zasemakhaya, ukuthi imiqasho yona iba inzuzo kangakanani uma ngikhetha ukuthi ngingene ngayo kulolu hlobo njengoba sikhuluma nge-property. Siyabuya.
Father's Day, when we were watching Simunyamara, we were dancing mobile had a room divider.
Onze traffic gehad met like ons jong, ons lakasje. That was just old.
When men made us feel at home and 50-50 was just a show on TV. That's because they were scared. Now we're learning lessons from the real bads on the estate and Guyani.
Hotspot Cele says mom just right for the weekend.
Yo, I do this for TV.
I'm the real though. Paying our TV licenses keeps industries alive. Let's stay informed, educated, and entertained.
Making memories and telling stories for the now generation. Go to tvlic.co.za. TV licenses. Pay yours. Make a difference.
Siphinde sikwamukele kuKhozi FM TV ngihlelana nobhuti wami uSimphiwe wakwaButhelezi Sims Accommodations Solutions. Singakayi kwi-break usiyawuthembisile ukuthi masibuya sikhuluma ngalamakotishi asemalokishini ethu, imiqasho ekhona ukuthi kahle kahle uma sifisa ukungena kuleyo ndlela ye-property athina ama-options ethu, inzuzo ikhona yini, kuhamba kanjani ngakhona?
Must stand.
Must stand.
When it comes to cottage and lama properties lawa akhandwayo uyikhandela, the challenge is finance. So ama banks mostly abangaphandle kwelokishi, so ama banks mostly they don't finance ukhandwa kwawo. And another thing, as a township a developer, the rental actually becomes rent yakhona igcina sengasakwazi ukuphileka compared to ukuthi abantu they are moving now from rural areas to and another thing, when you enter into property, you spoke about a portfolio, so you want to build a portfolio. So now, if you are making 5,000 rand per property versus you are actually making 5,000 rand with property and a title deed, and you pay maybe for 5 years, and then you sometimes not even 5 years. In a space of 12 months, you can have another property. So what happens there? You've built equity. So you've built wealth yakho. So that's what that you can leave for your children, because now property iyayikhokhela bond and ikushiya nenzuzo. So
ngicela ngizokuqhubeza kodwa ngicela mase siqedile le njoba singena emakotishini manje ukhuluma ngokuthi ingaba yifa, umnotho omuhle ongaba yifa lezingane zakho. Ngicela sidwebele leyo bese sifaka ama question mark ezintweni ezifana nama levies nama rates later on, kodwa ngiyacela kodwa uqhubeke nalokho.
Ngiqhubeke. So it actually makes sense to inherit something that has got a value. Whenever I decide to say I'm actually looking to get a loan, I have something to hold against, and I can pursue that goal. That's actually the purpose of investing in property. It actually gives you not just the benefits of being in property, but it also opens doors for you, because the banks you easily get access to loans,
preferential treatment.
Yes, you can also have things like access bonds, where you actually have an agreement with the bank. You're gonna pay a little extra on your bond. Interest. Remember that the mortgage is actually low in interest compared to other loans. So if you can be able to pull out some funds anytime from your mortgage, compared, and you cover the school fees or you cover the hospital bill, any emergency, rather than going to a bank and actually taking a loan that is going to be maybe 13% or whatever the interest rates are currently. So it actually make kuyaphileka ngathini when you compare cottage, they mostly akhandwa ngama plans anga-approviwe. You understand? So when you're getting into cottage, i-value yakhona, i-value appreciation, so what we call the capital growth. So it actually fana nokuthi uthenga property ngo 30,000, and then in the next 5 years i-value yakhona mhlawumbe uzoyidayisa ngo 40,000, whereas la after 5 years I have something better than ilokhuza.
Kodwa kuyinto ongayikhuthaza kuloyo othi ngisemakhaya nginawo amandla okwakha amakotisha amathathu bangiqala o one room, ngifaka umbhede, ngifake amamitha kagesi, kube decent nje, kube nezindawo zokugeza. ngiyazi ukuthi uqeda kubalula into yokuthi kusuke ngeyona into eyakhiwe ngeplan isikhathi esiningi. Kodwa into ongayikhuthaza yini kulona ongathi ngingaqala yini la ngikhona ngaleyo ndlela?
Problem, yabo, me personally,
Yeah.
I actually have passion in actually ukuthi umuntu omnyama abe knowledge, you understand? So it's not a wise thing to actually go to something where you cannot ongekukwazi ukuthi we grow into becoming a millionaire, for example, you understand? So if uzohamba ukhuthaza, it's knowledge, you understand?
Yeah.
So the black people, they are not educated about real estate. You won't find umlungu, an Indian or other races behamba beya emakhaya to a place where there's no value, or elokishini avele back door avela khande umqasho with something that has got no plans.
Yeah.
You understand? And bese qashisa abantu 800 rand.
Yeah.
You understand? Versus ukuthi ahambe yothenga iproperty ezo ngaleyo mali leyo
Le mali akhe ngayo
la ezokwazi ukuthi imlokhuzane imphilise kangconywana, yabo, and actually not thinking for yena but generationally, because now if ubuka if isikhuthaza ama cottage,
yeah,
it's sibangaka thina kune cottage ekhakini, by the time you turn a certain age sekufanele mhlambe uyevarsity, let's say you are 13 and khakini bazoku-inherita ngama cottage, you won't afford life. You understand?
Yeah.
But if they bought kuma urban area noma elokishini, some in the places where there's a title deed, because the bank asebenza ngama title deed, so you will be able to take cash flow leqhamuka from a property, and you are able to cover other things because the purpose imali.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the point of 800 rand? Some they're even lower than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. They're even lower than that, and the maintenance yakho they actually don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about flipping ama properties? Aske mhlambe ang-afford ukuthenga in an upmarket area, but khona indawo ethe ukuthi kancane that's in my budget, that mhlawumbe ngiyabona ukuthi ya developer, if ngiyithenga and flip it, I can be kuleyo business yokuthi ngithenga ama property angihlali kuwo, I flip it, I sell it.
Flip it ukuyilungisa.
Ukuthi bayinhle bese ngiyidayisela uSiya. NoSiya naye athi hayi ngizoyilungisa indlela yami, by the time ngiyidayisela uSimphiwe isithe ukuthi.
Yeah, that's actually a money-making category when it comes to properties.
Yeah.
When you flipping properties, you are actually not looking at ukuyilungisa iproperty ukuthi ibukeke kahle, no. Your purpose here is to increase the value. You understand? Because now, let's say for example, umuzi wasekhakini useduze ne-mall, you understand? And then what you're gonna do, you're not gonna, if you want to make money, you're just gonna divide it to sectional titles. You know, uhlukanise ube izindlu eziwu-2. I hope you've seen ukuthi khona today we have ama flats othola ukuthi i-townhouse. It's one yard but ihlukene kanje, and this person has, but square footage square footage is a yard. It's actually the same as umakhelwane wakho nendlu A1. So you can actually sell for 1 million on this side, or 500,000, and actually on this side sell for another 500,000.
Ngenxa ukuthi upartitionile wathi
ngenxa ukuthi uyabo, so the purpose is to increase the value.
Yeah.
So you buy things like repossessed properties. So banks, they normally, like I know Nedbank, we've worked with Nedbank a lot. Nedbank, you don't pay transfer duties.
Yeah.
You just, if the property is 250,000, you just pay that amount and you pay the acceptance fee.
Sisalapho. I-process nqengelele yokuthenga indlu esilungwini.
Yes.
Kumuntu onsundu.
Yes.
Avinzima. Angikwenzela isibonelo. Uthe babizwa ngobani laba abakutholela
ama-bond originators.
Ama-bond originator.
Yes.
Abebala.
Yes.
Amabhange.
Yes.
Abebala.
Yes.
Ngoba ama-lawyers asuke abameli balo odayisayo.
Yes.
Nama-lawyers akho, ama-conveyancers.
Yes.
Abebala.
Yes.
Kuzoba zibizwa ngani lezi zinto ngaphakathi igungu lezi zokumanage. Ngiyacabanga mhlawumbe makuzoba i-estate, ngiyalikhohlwa lelo gama lakhona. Kodwa into engizama ukuyichaza la ukuthi ngihambile ngayofunda e-university, ngiqhamuke emakhaya noma ngiqhamuke elokishini, ngasebenza, sengithi ngiyathenga esilungwini ukuthi kube ngcono, imali yami ngiyiphindisela kwabebala. Kule process ama-transfer fees mangithenga nje umuzi ka-2 million, ngizowuspenda mhlawumbe 200,000 ngama-transfer fees nama-conveyancer cost.
Yes.
Sihlangatshezwa kanjani nina njengabantu asebeyidlalile le game esenimkantshubovu? Sihlangatshezwa kanjani uhulumeni wethu? Siya-addressa yini lama-concern ukuthi kwangazuthi asikakazenzi izinto zibe lula kumuntu omnyama uma ngempela sizokhuluma ngokuthi we taking up space, sikhuluma nge-empowerment yomuntu webalela imnyama. Ngicabanga ukuthi uyangizwa umbuzo wami.
So what I know is when you're buying developments, mostly you don't pay transfer duties. So we're talking about tax.
Yeah.
So government plays a huge role there. And when it comes to la properties, conveyancing, transfers, this money inkulu, yes, but it actually goes through, because ihlukene transfer duties. You have your bond registration, of which sometimes the bank recommends the attorneys to do the bond registration. So when you look at the statements, you can actually see ukuthi imali iya at its office kunama fees ama-lawyers awakhokhayo. So they actually left with a little profit. It's not ukuthi yonke imali
abacollude bazane bebodwa ne-agent
the agent ine-commission yayo eseceleni.
Sengishola ukuthi abanye uzubathole bekwi-office park eyodwa, i-agent yilaba ama-bond originator.
Yes.
Kanye nabameli.
Yes.
Bathola ukuthi ayikho insebenziswano ezocindezela mina nale madlana engithi ngizotshala ngayo kodwa sengihambisa kwabebala.
Yes, that's a good one, because now what people need to know ukuthi me as a seller, I can decide ukuthi who's going to do my umuphi ummeli appoint. Yes, the seller actually appoints ummeli to do the transfer, but to register a bond, the buyer actually appoints, or sometimes the bank itself recommend ukuthi this is the company that will actually do the bond registration.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Asibuye kuleli iphuzu manje ungixolele ngoba manje ngiba nepassion ngalezi zinto ngoba ziningi izinto ezisemasithe eshengelele, and siyabonga ukuthi njengomuntu webalela insundu nikhona ukuzama uku-addressa lama issue. Iphutha kodwa ke eniyolenza ukuthi nithi mase niwubonile umthombo ukuthi nawo nithule kube kodwa kade for years abebala ba comfortable ngoba bayazi ukuthi imali eningi bayenza kanjani. Asize kule ama rates nama levies. Ngithenga umuzi ngithi nguthengela abantu abami.
Yes.
Ukuthi mhla ngihambile emhlabeni ngelinye ilanga bayoba right.
Yes.
Kodwa ukunyuka kwelevy nokunyuka kwerate engeke iphinde ishone phansi.
Yes.
Yabo angiphinde nje ama levies nama rates kuma estates. Kwesinye isikhathi ungaze ugcina uthola ukhokha 10,000 noma ngaphezulu mawusukuxubile. Ngizoyikhokha ngiyiqede ibond.
Yes.
Ngithi nginomuzi weingane zami ezingeke zikhokhe lutho kodwa mase ngihambile emhlabeni kuyohlalela zona ukuthi zikhokhe those levies and rates.
Yes.
Ase kuyi level mhlambe engacisha ifane nebond yakwenye indawo noma ngaphezulu.
Yes.
Si addressa kanjani leyo nokuthi sizoyidlala kanjani ama body corporates naleli gama leli. Ama body corporates lawa akha imithetho okuwukuthi makhanjwa kuyovotwa lapha kuma AGM. Uhulumeni akakwazi ukungenelela uma i-estate ithi senza kanje. Baba nokwabo okuseceleni.
Yes.
How do we address those kind of issues?
Well, the only option is to, because the purpose of our levies is to actually keep the value. They actually help because now
relatively.
Yes, because now the value of your property, if you buy a freehold property like your house, you have to maintain it.
Yeah.
You understand? But the levies, they actually go into, they paint the building.
Supposed to go.
Yes, they do landscaping and everything.
Security.
Yes, so those things, the security and everything. So those things, they push the value of the property faster. You understand? So now when if mina ngithenga a freehold property and I need to maintain it, so if someone comes and inspects my property, they won't find the value. You understand? But the market value, Guma estate, when someone, an assessor, mostly when you're buying a bond, when you're buying using a bond, the bank sends an assessor. So they know we market value estate and it's actually being maintained. So when you die and you inherit a property and they can't afford to stay there anymore.
Just because of levies and rates.
They can actually utilize maybe a spare bedroom and do short-term rental, about Airbnb, or they can actually move somewhere cheaper and they rent out the property. And that's the option. Because now you want to stay in the suburb, you have to have a plan. Yes, you have to calculate should I die, how I'm going to actually pay these levies.
When the bank noma sends an assessor noma inspector, what goes kwi checklist of ukuthi okay, this is an ideal property to buy. Mhlawumbe is it area noma ukuthi ibukeka kanjani, iziphi izinto ezikule list le esuke ifike no assessor.
Assess. So assessor, the first thing azofika ibuke, like in the other property, it was in Reservoir Hills. The property was underpriced. It was below the market price. So, and it was a student accommodation. It's in a student accommodation area. So, wafigu assessor and then amawindi taphihlikile and ayikho clean. You understand? So, in as much as property is good investment, but they cancel the application because now, so basically they look at the condition, property, ukuthi le value le elapha we offer to purchase, does it match reality yala? So if kuyenzeka uthola ukuthi I property it's actually 1 million and then he finds a value for 800,000.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna give you an offer. That's why the bank gives you an offer and say, we can only give you this much for this property. And then say, when I'm gonna sell, you need to adjust the price. And then they can work. Because my bank are silly now.
Asiva iningi yona iyadinga ukuthi sinikeze isikhathi. Kodwa phambi kokuthi sivale mhlawumbe ngifuna umbuza uSheng ukuthi lapha kaSims senama properties angakanani?
Well, the portfolio has grown, but now we mostly focusing on buying for people. So we have more than 30 properties because some people we provide a mentorship at 12 months. So after 12 months you are on your own. So once you buy a package, and if you buy a package number 3, of which is property flipping, then you with us for 3 years. So there's clients that have been there and they haven't completed their 3-year period. So we have over 30. I don't have an exact number, but we have over 30 clients that we're actually running their properties. But the money goes to the clients. They we actually fulfilling. That's confidential. Personally, that's confidential. Yeah, that's confidential.
Ngiyakhumbula ukuthi u-Euphonic, DJ Euphonic, uThemba, no-Oskido, baye bangacashi ngoba basuke befuna ukugqugquzela abantu abamnyama ukuthi bathenge, ikakhulukazi ngoba sebeyibonile lento ukuthi ngempela ikhona imali. So mhlambe ngokuzayo busuyingcengile.
Let's hope. Let's hope so.
Asivali.
No, asivali, sibonge kakhulu. Mhlambe nje to drop email or something where if abantu befuna assistance from you guys.
Okay. So we actually have a website. It's www.simsaccommodationssolutions.com. So you can get us there, and you can email to simsproperties@gmail.com, and you can actually contact us at 064-057. That's our WhatsApp line, and you can also call 064-057-2713.
Thank you so much, and I hope ukuthi the next time so bese sikhuluma language eyodwa, because nami ngizobe sengithi no.
Shenge sibonge kakhulu sivayelise nakwena mlaleli Ukhozi FM TV, utshele nabanye futhi ungakhohlwa njalo ukubuka namanye ama episodes. Sibonge kakhulu, sibonane